you're not broken, the mental health system is. It's a bit of a fiery, fiery statement, but it's just so needed, and it just needs to be spoken about because, you know, I was someone who had depression for 22 years. I had undiagnosed depression from the age of 14, and that was triggered when my parents separated. And then it got worse at around the age of 23 when my mum became terminally ill. Then from then on, from the age of 23 till about 35, 36, I was on, oh, sorry, it must have been 35. Age of 35, I was on antidepressants. And I just thought I would be that person that always had depression, and I had accepted that. My mum, you know, had said, well, some people just have depression, and sometimes some people just have to take medication for the rest of their life, and that actually helped me in some way. It was kind of like, okay, let's accept that part of me. I'm just someone who has to take medication, like someone has to take medication for diabetes or something like that, like another medical reason. So that helped. But yeah, 2 years ago, things changed dramatically for me. And that's what I'm here to share with you, because I found that there is like a fundamental missing piece in the mental health model. And it's exciting now that things are changing in terms of new research is coming out around trauma, the body and the brain. They're really getting to understand what happens to the body more specifically, which I'll go into, and which really shows that our current mental health model is really just not up to scratch, and it's not offering the support that we actually need. So what I'll do is I'll just now, how do I just want to, there we go. Cool. So this is what we're going to do today. First of all, I'm going to show you why it's broken, and I'm going to share with you what the missing piece is. And then I'd really love this to be as practical as possible so you can learn some really powerful inner work tools for mental health, for spiritual awakening, and for sacred leadership as well, because I know I'm speaking to my people who know you're here, you know, you're here to bring peace and harmony and love on the planet. You're here to be way showers. You're here to create the new world. So it is, while it sounds, you know, pessimistic, but perhaps, or angry, which I most certainly have been angry. I've been angry about, I've spent so long. I spent so long being in this system and thinking that it was me, thinking that I was the problem. And so I just have this burning desire to explain to as many people who are struggling with depression or anxiety. And I just want you all to know that it's not you that's the problem. It's not you. If you're walking out of appointments with psychologists and counsellors and you're continuing to take medication and you're not getting any better, I want you to know that it's not you. And we just haven't had the science and the research that's actually that's provided the support and the resources that are required for people who have mental illness. And I mean, if you're in Daniella's community, you will know a lot of people who are intuitive and on a spiritual path very much understand energy and the interplay between the body and the mind. And it's not so much the case in conventional society, in the mainstream. So you'll be happy to know that that the body is coming on board, and that is part of the answer. So this, I really would love this to be as interactive as possible. So please use the chat box, and I'll do my best to look back at that at the same time as presenting. And if you have any questions along the way, then please jump in at any time. So let's get to the crux of it. So let's just imagine you have depression or anxiety. You'll go to a GP. This is in Australia anyway, Gisela. This is what happens in Australia. I'm not sure. Well, actually, I have a strong global community who have experienced a similar thing across the world as Australia. It's the same across the world, where we go when we have mental illness or depression or anxiety. Our first port of call is to go to a GP, and then we will do like a 10-question survey to see, where we rate in terms of our mental health, and then we'll get a referral on to see a psychologist or a counsellor, and if not, it's with a psychiatrist. And so that first port of call is talk therapy. So going to see a psychologist or a counsellor, you're receiving talk therapy, you're receiving cognitive therapy. So that means that it's all based on the mind. It's all based on talking through your problems, if you're working with the counsellor. As far as I know, this is what I've experienced, and this is what many of the people in my community have experienced. When you're working with a counsellor, they're very solution-based, and it's practical. It's helping you to get to your own answer. And with psychology, for me, there was a lot of going round and round in circles. We just would talk over and over and over about the same old stories and the same old memories. And I just was, I was just like, what's wrong with me? I can't get over this. And what I learned was, now looking back, I was re-traumatized. I was being re-traumatized. I was re-traumatizing myself every time I would talk about that, about those experiences, those memories, those really bad stories that I had about myself. So talk therapy, sure, it does work for some people, but for so many people it doesn't. And so this is the issue, that there's just so much emphasis on cognitive-based therapies, where we're switching our thoughts, where we're really focused on our mind. We're really focused on shifting our beliefs and reframing. And I remember being offered CBT, which is cognitive behaviour therapy, for those of you who don't know, which is a form of reframing beliefs, which is great for people without mental illness. I find actually that much more helpful now that I'm not depressed, now that I don't have a mental illness. I find intention setting so much more helpful now. Creating positive or using positive affirmations, I find that so much more helpful now, whereas that wasn't so much when I had mental illness. So this is the problem, that we're just going in and we're talking about our problems, and we're really not getting anywhere. So for 20 years, I was going to see psychologists and counsellors and taking medication and just thinking, okay, well, this is all there is. Like, there's nothing else here. It must be me. There must be something inherently wrong with me, because I'm just not getting any better. So if that's you, then I'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to pop a comment in the chat box. And also, this is all personal choice too. I don't think if I was on this call as a participant with depression, I probably would have felt quite ashamed or embarrassed to actually share that I had depression, because there is that real sense of shame that I'm doing something wrong, or there's something wrong with me because I have depression. So here are some other things that really helped me stay stuck when I was depressed. So as we all know, having positive intentions and using positive affirmations, really focusing on high vibrational energies, using the moon to release, all of that can be really helpful. But when we're using it, it can really help us stay stuck when we're depressed, and it actually takes us away from our own power. Daniela shared a beautiful post. I'm not sure when she posted it, but she was talking about feeling her feelings. And that's like when we actually come and be with all of ourselves, then that's when we find our true power. That's when we find our power as a spiritual leader, as a sacred leader. So for us to kind of chop ourselves in half or really just work from the mind, we're not actually using our full power. And that's most certainly been my experience more recently through the Sacred Earth Medicine ritual course that Daniela was talking about. And when you get to learn how to bring your body into your energy work, it can be so much more powerful. So the good vibes only. So let's just have a think about human beings. We're not always positive. Like every third day, every second day, we're down in the dumps again. Like we're not happy. We're frustrated. We're jealous. We're angry. We're sad. We're upset. We're grieving. You know, we're agitated. We're not just positive. And so what I took from this kind of good vibes thing was that I was getting life wrong. Can you hear me okay? Because I just saw my internet connection go unstable.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So every time I was sad, I was like, oh, I'm getting life wrong. I shouldn't be sad. I'm doing something wrong. I shouldn't be sad. And we always have these perfect images of other people around us and think, well, they've got it all together. And so when we cry or when we feel sad or upset or angry or jealous, we're like bad people. And so this was really a reclamation of being human and realizing that, oh my gosh, like it's all right to cry. And this is why I wrote a book about it, because once I realized that I could, like, there was actually nothing wrong with me crying. And in fact, my tears and my crying was actually helping me process my emotions. Then I really started to get better. My mental health absolutely improved. The releasing, I just remember when I was depressed, I would get so angry at the full moon because I'd be doing full moon ceremonies and I would just be like, get rid of this, get rid of that. Like, just why are you not taking this away from me? I just was so angry. And it wasn't until I realized how to feel safe with all parts of myself, then I realized that there actually wasn't the releasing, it's changed for me. It's more of a dusting off, just a brushing off of the debris that's left, rather than oh, I really don't like that part of me. I need that to go, like this full moon. So meditation and basic mindfulness isn't enough. Again, it's really helpful. I started meditating early and I found benefit from that. And I practiced Vipassana from the age of 22, which is, for those of you who don't know, that's like people call it the boot camp for meditation. It's like 11 hours a day for 10 days meditating. So these all have really powerful impacts. And at the same time, it wasn't enough to take my depression away. And that was because like meditation and let's stick with basic mindfulness. Basic mindfulness comes and helps us to come back to a place of rest. But then when, and perhaps I would spend 20 minutes in a meditation, or I'd even take myself on an intuitive sacred journey, you know, with light language or with light activations, and they were all fantastic until I opened my eyes and then got smacked in the face by life. So it's like, it's not really enough to help us manage life and the triggers that come with life. So the techniques that I'm going to show you, that was the answer for me. It was like tools you can actually apply to those very challenging moments that has us stay stuck in our stories, basically, which are not true. And we know that on a cognitive level, but it's not until you use well, these techniques that I'm going to share with you tonight, they help you just feel free, basically, just absolutely free to face life and not be afraid to. It's not like you don't have to hide. You don't have to keep yourself safe from people. It's like you've got all the tools within you once you know these techniques, and you can just be yourself, and you can just be, you can feel free in who you are. So the exciting thing is that this new research is coming out. So people to follow are Gabor Mate. I might pop them in the chat box, actually, if I can. So Gabor Mate, Bessel van der Kolk, he's, oh, how do I, just going to move that up there. Okay, so Gabor, whoop, hang on a sec. Gabor Mate, Bessel van der Kolk. That's a great book, The Body Keeps the Score. And then have a look at somatic experiencing. That's a technique that's similar to the killer bee inquiries that I'm going to explain and share with you tonight. So the new research is saying that cognitive-based therapies are not enough, and that a somatic-based approach needs to come into therapies and support for people with mental illness. So rather than talking from the mind, we're actually engaging, and we're unhooking and unraveling the nervous system that is stuck in the fight, flight, freeze response from our traumatic experiences that we've had. So new research shows a somatic approach best treats trauma. And if you read the book, The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk, he's a psychiatrist that has dedicated his whole entire life to find ways. He's like ahead of the game. He's done so much work on this, and he's realized that it's body-based and somatic-based approaches. That's the answer. That's what's been missing. And that's what I found was missing. And so somatic is a fancy word for feeling your feelings. So it's a body-based approach. So it's coming into the body. So if someone told me to come into the body when I had depression, I would have told, well, I did tell them. I told them, no, there's no way I'm doing that. There's no way I'm going to the pain in my body. If I go to the pain, then I will die. If I go to my feelings, I will die. So I'll get to that. I'll get to why we need particular techniques like the killer bee inquiries that I'm going to share with you tonight. So this is taken from The Body Keeps the Score. Psychologists usually try to help people use insight and understanding to manage their behaviour. So some of you might be able to relate to that. You've been to psychologists or counsellors where you're gaining insight and clarity about a situation that you've been in, or a memory that you've had, or an experience that you're going through. However, neuroscience research shows that very few psychological problems are the result of defects in understanding. So it's not the fact that we can't understand. Like, we know that, right? On a cognitive level, we're like, I don't know why I'm so worried about that. That was like 20 years ago. Why am I still so afraid of that? Or why am I still so stuck in this story? Because it was ages ago. And the research is showing that parts of the brain are impacted by a traumatic or a distressing experience, which has the nervous system stuck in a fight, flight, freeze response. So that means that your body continues to be in a hypervigilant state because it still thinks it's in a place or a threatening state. So this quote says, most originate in pressures from deeper regions in the brain that drive our perception and attention. When the alarm bell of the emotional brain keeps signaling that you are in danger, no amount of insight will silence it. So this is basically saying it doesn't matter how much we understand this on a cognitive level, the emotional brain and the nervous system will continue to pump out all of the hormones and have the body be in that fight, flight, freeze response because it thinks it's still in that threatening situation. So there's no point just talking about it. So trauma is a big word. It's a loaded word, so I'll break it down. Trauma is a deeply distressing experience that overwhelms our capacity to cope and has us adapt to survive. So a traumatic experience is a deeply distressing experience. So we've all had trauma. We've all experienced trauma on some level. Our lives have fallen apart. We've had moments in our lives that have fallen apart. Now, it can be confronting to go to those experiences because we don't want to go there because it hurts. And at the same time, we need to go there with these very safe techniques. So you work one-on-one. When you practice the Killer Bee inquiries, you work one-on-one with someone who is guiding you and holding the space for you to practice these techniques so you feel safe to go to those challenging memories or stories that you have about yourself. So let's look to see what happens in the brain in a traumatic experience. In a traumatic experience, you receive so much energy. I liked the way they said this comes from top psychologists and psychiatrists, and they're talking about energy, which is so cool. In a traumatic experience, you receive so much energy and information, the body and brain can't process it all. So cortisol helps you be alert and ready to go, but it also shuts off the hippocampus function, which reduces the integration of memory and specifically emotional memory, which means you don't encode the memory. So that means the body stays in a trauma state. So we've been talking about all of these things over and over and over, but we haven't been addressing the body. So this is what I was talking about before. I put this picture up here because that's kind of how my depression felt. I'm not sure if some of you can relate to this, but my depression felt like a big black vortex that if I would go into it, I would go deeper and darker, and it would overwhelm me so much that I wouldn't be able to get out. And it was kind of like this, like me trying to tread water, trying to keep my head above water. And when I had people around me saying, you've just got to look at the positives, you've just got to stay positive. Or sometimes I would revert to pretending that I was happy because I didn't want people to fuss over me. So I was in this kind of, it was like a push-pull of, I was either the victim and I didn't know how to not be the victim because I actually received the love that I desired and craved and wanted from my family and friends. So I played the victim, and I, at the same time, I couldn't get myself out of, I didn't know how to feel my feelings and be in and experience life without being overwhelmed by it. It was I was either the victim, I was either that, or I was pretending to be positive. So I wasn't causing a fuss. So people would be, so I was being the good girl, so I was not a burden. And deep down, I thought that I was a hopeless case that no one could fix. That was the story that I told myself. And that story had me like cry and cry and cry. And I wanted to say just then, it had me fall apart. That was another story I told myself. Whenever I cried, I'm falling apart. So these stories just had me stuck. So I thought that if I went to my pain, if I went to my baggage, if I went to my feelings, I would go into the hole and I would not get myself out. So if you're feeling like that, then that's really, it's common. It's like people don't want to feel. None of us want to feel. Sometimes still I know all of this and I have amazing tools and I still don't want to feel. My mind is so good at distracting me. It's like, no, don't worry, you're fine. But we have to, every day, we have to bring ourselves back to ourselves and be with the full experience of being human, which includes feelings. Now, I saw some, I just want to go to the chat because I just saw a couple of comments here. Did you have to take medication at that time? Yeah, so I took medication from the age of 23 to 35. Yeah, so 12 years. I'm so blocked in my body. I can't go without crutches for 15 years after 6 operations on both hips. Yeah, that's it. So it can either, whatever we avoid, it either manifests into mental illness or physical illness. So I had mental illness because I was completely, I can't see any of you now. There we go. Because I didn't have the tools. I wasn't shown. I didn't know. I didn't know how to feel my feelings. I wasn't taught that. I was taught to find solutions and to focus on the positives and like all valid solutions, right? But it never took the dread away from my body. I was trying to get away from myself, but it was like this thing, my baggage, what we would call baggage, which is just feelings, right? It just kept following me. I couldn't get away from myself. I couldn't, that's what it was. I couldn't get away. So it was a complete surrender and a turning back towards once I knew these techniques to do it safely. So I love, Daniela, what you shared because that was exactly what happened. I found the teachers right at the moment that I needed to. So I was 2 years ago in 2019, I was preparing a beautiful retreat in Newcastle in New South Wales. And we had planned to have a cacao ceremony there. And cacao has contraindications with antidepressants. And I thought, oh, I can't facilitate a retreat and not be involved in one of the most exciting parts of the retreat. And so I thought, okay, this is my time. I'm like, this is the time I'm going to come off medication. And I'd also been attracting people, clients who had mental illness. And I thought, oh, something's shifting here because everyone's a reflection of us. So anyway, I remember standing, I was doing the washing and I had my arms up and I was praying and said, bring me the teachers. I'm ready. Bring me the teachers that will help me come out of depression. Because I was also thinking, well, some people just have depression and then they get over it. Surely, I'm not that different to people. Surely I can do this. Surely I can do this. And so a couple of weeks later, I met Matt Nettleton, who introduced me to the Killer Bee Inquiries. So the Killer Bee Inquiries is a set of advanced mindfulness techniques or applied mindfulness techniques, I like to call it, because you're applying mindfulness techniques to the painful memories that you've had and the negative sense of self, so the negative stories that you have. That's why it's different too. It's not just mindfulness. We're using those techniques to apply it to the crap, the pain that's happened in your life that has created this story that you believe in, that is you, which is that negative sense of self. It's just a story, which we know cognitively, but it's also in the body. And so what the Killer Bee Inquiries does is it clears the story, it clears the pictures, the memories, it clears the words, like the thoughts that you have about yourself, but it clears it in the body. And so when you practice the Killer Bee Inquiries, you feel free, you feel light, you feel clear. Like I've never experienced. Once I practiced the Killer Bee Inquiries, I had probably 3 sessions. I had by far the biggest spiritual awakening I'd ever had, because I felt this immense freedom in my body and my mind. It was just a complete freedom. I realized that I had been exhausting myself, trying to get somewhere, trying to be someone. And I realized that all of that was coming from a place of, I'm not good enough. And once that story cleared, it just didn't hold that intensity anymore. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to prove myself. I didn't have to work hard. I didn't have to do anything. So I spent the next 2 weeks just like staring at my kids and just like absorbing their beauty. It was very cool. So after a couple of sessions, I had this moment. So in those sessions, I had been shown, okay, when I have those horrible feelings, like that pain come through my body, what I would have labelled as pain at the time, come through the body, I had been shown what to do, how to feel safe, how to process those feelings in my body. And I had this moment when I was in the kitchen and I'd had a couple of off days, and my husband was kind of like, he can see when my mental health is kind of wavering a bit. And so there was this moment where I thought, okay, I can feel this thing in my body, which was a miracle in the first place, because up until then I didn't know anything that was happening in the body. I had no idea. I was so disconnected from my body. I didn't know there was a thing in my body. I was just focused on my mind. I just thought, no, if I just reframe or swap my beliefs or change my beliefs, then everything's fine. I was just focused on my mindset. But once I'd had a couple of sessions of KI, that's what we call it, I had these tools, I had these techniques. And so I could feel this immense, like a tsunami, wave of dread come through my body. And I had kept a lid on that dread for years, for 22 years. And so I thought, and I kept that lid on because I thought, if I let that floodgate go, I'm going to go down that black vortex and I'm going to die. And it was very real for me. It's so strange because it's like, what do you mean? You're not going to die. There is no black vortex. But that was my experience, and perhaps some of you can relate to that as well when you're having a low period. And so I thought, okay, I'm just going to open up the body. So this wave of dread comes right through my body. So it was rising from my abdomen right up. And it came and it came and it came, and I thought, oh no, oh no, oh no. And at the same time, I was just like, just keep using the techniques. And it came and came and came and came and came, and it filled my whole body. My whole body was filled with what I would call dread. And then it subsided. It settled. It calmed down and it went away. And in that moment, my depression dissolved, because that was the feeling that I had been trying to keep at bay. And I realized that when I let it come and rise up through my whole body, and I surrendered to it, I let myself feel it with interest and curiosity and saying, thank you so much, I love you, you're so welcome to be here. It was a feeling, just like a visitor, like people say, like the memes say, it comes and it goes. There was no threat. It was a feeling. It was a feeling that came and it went. And I had put so much power. I'd given that one feeling so much power. And when I use these techniques in the Killer Bee Inquiries, it just freed me. Been on medication since 2012. Yeah. This is exactly my story. I've been healing myself for the last 7 years after my black hole experience. I closed myself off emotion and became a shell that functioned. Exactly. That's what we do, right? We just function. I worked through each and every pain emotionally and healed each situation. We heal ourselves. How beautiful. Hi all, I'm booked for a hip replacement in June. Locked hip, no cartilage. I'm sure it's an emotional response to a 4-year-old's terror of being left in an empty hospital ward while being treated for osteomyelitis 50 years ago. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so after 2 decades of professional mental health support, no one had ever shown me how to feel. How ridiculous. How crazy. No one. I had one psychologist who one session, she brought me into the body and it was traumatic. And I said, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. So I had one person in 20 years try, and she didn't have the full kit, like something like the Killer Bee inquiries. So I felt safe to feel. And I put this picture of me on here because, like, I look like I'm in pain, but actually I had emotion come through when I was having this photography done, and that felt amazing. So we have these perceptions of you know, tears and crying. It's always painful. No, it's not. I have so much pleasure. I feel so much pleasure when I cry now, when it probably looks quite painful to other people. So we need to change that. My psychologist now says talking is just like rearranging the furniture. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, you do. You have to feel to heal, and you need to know the techniques for it to feel safe to feel. Because if we just go and feel, it's freaking painful. And we see people saying, you know, it is painful when it doesn't have to be painful. I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be painful. Every single sensation or feeling that I've had that feels that I've been like, oh, I don't want to feel it. Oh, I don't want to have to feel, no. And then I use the techniques to have me come into a place where I feel that pain, that so-called pain, it morphs either into beauty or peace. It's incredible. Every time it happens, I'm like, oh, you're kidding. Like, really? It's like there's nothing to run from. There's nothing. Feelings are not the enemy. So feeling sad, feeling angry. Once I had, a couple of years ago, I had a coach say, you're angry, and that's like so welcome. And that's the first time that someone had actually given me permission and to say it's okay to be angry. As people who are on a spiritual path, we can often think, oh, but we need to be in, a high vibration. We need to be in love and light all the time. No, that's exhausting. You know what frees us and helps us come into our highest vibration is allowing and accepting and saying thank you and saying I love you to every single part of us. And that includes the feelings, which are sensations in the body. So you'll hear me now talk more about sensations and feelings. Feelings can be this elusive thing that we have no idea what to do with. Feelings are just sensations in the body. So a sensation might be a pain in the chest or a tightness in the throat, or it could be tingling in the hands, or it could be like a knot in your abdomen. And they are your gift. And I'll explain more about why they are a gift. Oh, well, I'll say one thing now, because life is just asking ourselves to come back and be with ourselves and love ourselves. just ourselves. Just ourselves. If every single person took the time to slow down and love every part of ourselves, just imagine what the world would look like. And I'll explain more about why they're our gift as well. So the Killerby inquiries, this is Scott Killerby. So he's the man who came up with the Killerby inquiries. And maybe I would say thousands of people have found the Killerby inquiries and have had the same experience as me, where they've just been like, what? Why didn't anyone show me this? And so Scott Killerby, he has set up, he's got a drug addiction background. So he's got 2 natural rest houses, so recovery centres, substance abuse recovery centres, and he works a lot with people with depression and anxiety. And so these are from the Killerby Centre, from independent studies. 73% of clients reported depression when they arrived. 9% reported those symptoms when they left, using the Killerby inquiries. The Killerby Centre is the first recovery centre that uses mindfulness as a primary support. And 70% of clients had anxiety symptoms when they arrived, and 3% reported those symptoms when they left. So once I learnt this, I knew I had to become a KI facilitator. I just was completely moved. I thought, if I've gone through 22 years of life in a mental health system that did not show me the basic tools to learn how to feel safe to feel my feelings, which processes the feelings, then I have got to show the world. I've got to show the people who are feeling or have felt exactly how I did, which was, I just thought I was a hopeless case that no one could fix and that there was something wrong with me because I was doing all the things that I was told. I was going to the appointments and getting nowhere. So I became a KI facilitator and I put this course together, Beyond Belief Self-Study, and I put all of the KI techniques and tools in that one course. So you have all the tools and all the techniques via video and audio and written text to explain to you how to practice these techniques. So it's amazing for mental health. It's also amazing if you want to get out of your own way and be a sacred leader. Yeah. And Danielle has shared also that I'm a energy worker, sacred space holder, light language channel. So I'm very much intuitive. Like I work with the stars, I work with the medicine of the earth. I'm very intuitive. And I learned by actually being in the world, learning how to feel safe in the world, more of this light work can come to the earth because you have to have an embodied, you have to have an embodied experience. You have to be in your body to actually channel and bring the light of the stars, the light of the earth into this world. I'm loving it so much already. Some of you might know Ellie Schroeder. She's an amazing branding designer. And then came the mastermind. So the mastermind is my beautiful sacred space where you get all of the techniques, all of the KI techniques, which is by far the most powerful set of inner work tools I've ever come across, by far. And I've done a lot. And in the mastermind, we meet fortnightly for Sacred Circle. where you're held in space, in sacred space, and you receive mentoring, individual mentoring on the call, and light language activation, upgrades, energy upgrades. And I'm there for you to answer every question that you have so you can master these techniques. So I'm here with you until you're clear of all of these stories that you're not. You also in the mastermind have options to work one-on-one with a KI facilitator. So this is Amanda. After decades of psychiatric treatment and countless psychologists, which only seemed to reinforce my belief that there was something wrong with me, I found KI more effective and helpful than any other methods. That's from Amanda Goodfellow from Agile Mind. It's a really common story. It's like, what? It's so simple, but it's just not taught, it's just not shared. And so now I look back as to my 14-year-old self and go, oh my gosh, if only I had these tools when I was 14, I wouldn't have had depression for 20 years and like no regrets. But it's like, okay, now we can actually do something about this. We can bring these techniques to our teens so they know how to process their emotions, so they don't end up with depression or anxiety for so long. And we know that the mental illness rates are just ridiculously high. So I've been bringing these techniques to parents, and the parents are saying the Killer Bee inquiry seems very effective, is simple and required. I was surprised at how well it worked and how easy it was. It's better than trying to communicate and talk for hours, which usually shuts my team down. So that's back to that. Well, I haven't actually shared much about this, but giving advice. We often give advice. It's like, if you just do this and this and this, then you'll be better. No, people with mental illness just want to be heard and loved. They don't want answers. They just want to be heard. They want to be heard and seen and witnessed and loved and accepted, which is what we do in the Killer Bee inquiries. A lot of my sessions, which I am booked out now, and I have Sumitra, who I'll introduce you to. What I do in my sessions, a lot of my sessions are I'm holding space for my clients to cry, because because they haven't had the space or felt safe or felt like they've had the permission or felt like it's okay to cry. And that's again why I wrote a book about that. When my mum was diagnosed with terminal cancer around the age of 23, when I was 23, I was like, right, because she was my biggest support, and it was like, right, I have to do this. I have to stand on my own 2 feet, and I have to make myself get better, and I have to function without her, and so I'm not going to cry. And so I would be wiping the tears away, like getting angry at myself for crying. And I look back and go, oh, that was just my body, like just processing emotions. But I'd made it into a thing. I thought that I was falling apart. Yeah, I thought it was bad to cry. And so my next dream was to then bring it to schools. So I've started Thrive, which is an 8-week applied mindfulness program for mental health students, in secondary school students, and I'm also teaching the staff so they know how to process their own triggers in the classroom, and I'm also teaching the teachers as well. This seminar showed me there are other options to counselling for our students. I can see it's okay for students to feel their feelings, and with these techniques it's available for them. All right, so I'm glad you said I've got plenty of time, Daniela, because I've definitely gone longer than I thought I would. So then the rest of our talk, I'm going to share some techniques, and I'd love at least one of you, to jump in and be a volunteer. So if you'd like to get the most out of using these techniques, then jump into the chat box. Okay, as a triage ED nurse, I just can't resolve just how I just can't resolve just how many people have anxiety and depression in their history. I know what is happening in our society. Is it lack of appropriate treatment or how we are being taught to process our life? Yeah. Well, I think it is. It is a lack of appropriate treatment. It's like we've been missing our bodies the whole time. We've been missing our feelings. Looking back, I cannot believe I went through 22 years without someone just showing me the basic tools and techniques to feel safe, to feel my feelings. Because when we feel our feelings, they process through the body. But we can't feel them if we're too terrified, if we think we're going to die. Gerlind, am I saying that right? Please let me know if I'm saying the pronunciation wrong.
Galinda, yeah, that's right.
Galinda? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Awesome. Lovely to meet you, by the way. All right, so I'll if you can go on mute, but I'll invite you in when we're up to that. So these are powerful inner work tools for mental health, spiritual awakening, and sacred leadership. So let's go. I'm going to jump quickly through this because I reckon you will all be all over it. So we all have core deficiency stories and deficiency stories. We all have negative beliefs about ourselves. And here are some examples. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm a loser. I'm shit. I'm crap. Da, 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 da. We all know we have those stories. So deficiency stories create the negative sense of self. So we all have a negative sense of self. Some of us might not be aware of it, but we all have one. And that, again, might be like confronting, but it's like, no, we all have stories, right? And so I see it as a web, or like a spider's web, or a tree as well. So if you have a look down here at the roots, we've got the core deficiency stories. So these are the stories that tell us that we are deficient in some way. They're the core beliefs. That's what those psychologists help us to get to, which is great. But then it's like, well, what do we do with them? And so that's what KI does. It gives you a framework, a really, really step-by-step process to clear those stories. And so the core deficiency stories, they lead into the deficiency stories. So your core deficiency story could be, I'm not enough. And then you might not be cool enough, not smart enough, not good enough. You might have another core deficiency story that tells you that you're not safe. So it might be that it's not safe to speak. For when I lived with my stepdad, it most certainly wasn't safe to speak in my home. It's not safe to stop and rest. It's not safe to feel, okay? So everyone has deficiency stories, and those core deficiency stories, they really drive the deficiency stories. Core deficiency stories formed via traumatic or distressing events or experiences. So let's take this as an example. Mum's got a new boyfriend. This is the teenage girl who feels like mum doesn't love me because mum's never around. And the core deficiency story is I'm unlovable. So in that moment, she's decided that I'm unlovable. She's unlovable. So we've all done this as human beings. There's no shame. That's just what we do as humans. Our everyday problems stem from our deficiency stories. This is a big one. So every single problem that you have in your life, it is driven from your deficiency stories and core deficiency stories. That's why you're going through the same issues no matter where you go. You're cycling through the same habits because you haven't addressed the core deficiency stories. It's patterning or programming, which I think a lot of you will be all over. So here's an example of how these core deficiency stories can stem into your everyday life. So let's just take this example. This young teenager decided that she was unlovable at, say, 14, 15. And so the core deficiency story is I'm unlovable. It could also be no one wants me, I don't belong, I'm alone. All very common. We're all the same. Deep down, we're all the same. We all have these stories. But then maybe 20 years later, she's running her own business. She's on a spiritual path. She knows that she's here for a big reason. She's a way shower. She's here to create the new world. And she has these problems like, I need to hide. I'm a failure in my business. She's hearing these stories in her head. I need more likes. I didn't get the sales I wanted. So that's how it can manifest and drive into surface level issues, surface level problems. It all stems from the core deficiency stories. No, it's not your fault. It's just part of being human. So if you got pen and paper ready, this is the first technique you can take away, and it's called the boomerang. So if you think of a boomerang, the boomerang is something that comes back to you. So life, everything outside of you is a reflection of you. So everything you put out, it comes back. So the boomerang helps you find what deficiency story is driving the problem that you're having, or the issue that you've got in your life. So let's just take this as an example. This woman here, she's running a business, she's on a spiritual path, she's a sacred leader, but I'm scared of being seen. So if she asks this question, if that was to say something about me, what would that be? The fact that I'm scared of being seen. And so what we do is when we ask these questions, we're just like coming back to a place of rest or natural, use some basic mindfulness. So you're in that resting, calm state and you're waiting for the answer to rise to the surface. So it's more of an intuitive process rather than analytical. So if you ask that question, if that was to say something about me, what would that be? Or if that was to mean something about me, that I'm scared of being seen. In this case, it's I'm weak. And the core deficiency story could be I'm not enough. So that's the question to ask. Any problem that you have, if that was to say something about me or about life, what would that be? That will take you down to what's really driving this issue. It's got nothing to do with the surface level problem or the people around you, and more to do with the deficiency story. Okay, so this is a big one, the Velcro effect. This was life-changing for me. So if you think of Velcro, there's two layers of Velcro. There's a top layer and a bottom layer. And the top layer of the Velcro stands for the words and pictures, which are the thoughts and the mental pictures you have in your head. And the bottom layer of the Velcro is the body sensations. So there are only three things that make up every single problem in your life: words, pictures, and body sensations. Everything can be narrowed down to words, which are the thoughts, pictures, which are the mental pictures, mental imagery, perhaps memories of the past or future projections of what could happen in the future, and body sensations. The body sensations are like the contraction in the chest, the tightening of the throat, the burning through the body, the flush in the cheeks, the shakiness in the legs, the pain in the shoulders, the tightening in the neck. They're all sensations. So the Velcro effect is when the words and the pictures are stuck to the sensation. And when the words and the pictures are stuck to the sensation, we're in the story, we're in the mess, we're in the pain, we're in the shit. Because we're experiencing life through meaning, where words and pictures are stuck to the body sensations. So when you're experiencing pain, your words and pictures, your thoughts are stuck to the body. So what we do in the Killer Bee inquiries is we use techniques to firstly dissolve the words and pictures, so you're just left with sensations. And when you do that, feelings are much safer and it feels safe to feel. You just have feelings, you just have sensations in the body. There's no actual story with it. The story is already lifted, it's faded. You're just left with sensations. And then when you're just left with sensations, then we use techniques to get out of the way, really, so the body can process its own emotions. The emotions just fade on their own. When there's no words, no pictures, no body sensations, there's no problem. So we're going to have a go at that. So, here's an example. So the problem is I'm scared of being seen. The words are, what if they don't like me? So the words, that's a thought. What if they don't like me? So she's putting a post, like a risque post up on Facebook. She's scared of being seen. In her head, she's like, oh, what if they don't like me if I say that? She has a mental picture in her head of hate comments on her feed, or perhaps she's got someone in her mind that's not going to like her post. They're mental pictures. And the body sensations could be pain or tightness in her chest. Like, we all know that, right? We know that feeling. We all get those. So what we're doing is we're learning how to process those sensations in the body, because it's the sensations in the body that make it excruciating and painful and overwhelming and make the problem really real and horrible. So everyone have a think about a problem or an issue that you're dealing with, you're faced with, you're confronted with at the moment. What's the problem? So write the problem down. What are the words that go with that? What are the thoughts? What thoughts are you hearing? It could be just the problem itself, it could be the words. What's the story you have about that problem? It could be one word, could be one sentence, one statement. Do you have mental pictures that go with that? Have you got a particular person in mind about that? Have you got a particular memory about that problem? Have you got a projection of the future? And the body sensations. What are the body sensations? When you think about that problem, just come into the body and start to feel, okay, what's present in the body? Which body part wants to speak to you right now? What can you feel? If you've got, just a quick tip, if you've got something really strong, put your attention on the outside of the sensation and you'll notice where there's no sensation. And start to breathe in to the sensation and breathe out with the space around the sensation. With losing any agenda of trying to get rid of anything, but just allowing. Breathe into the sensation, breathe out. So what are the words, pictures, and body sensations of that problem? Here's an example. The problem is I'm crying again. That was always a problem for me with depression. Oh, I'm crying again. I'm failing. Every time I cried, I was failing, not getting anywhere. The words, I'm falling apart. Those words had me fall apart. Oh, it's so ingrained. I keep telling myself I'm falling apart. I'm falling apart. The pictures were always my family members. Oh, of being my family members frustrated that I was upset again. Sensations in the body, big rising, heavy weight, like really heavy in my body. I didn't want to be heavy. But then when I let myself be heavy, I felt light. Something so simple. All right, so simple inquiry. What we're going to do is, Galinda, if you'd like to jump on, and I shall take you through the process. So we're unhooking the words and the pictures, and then we're processing the emotion. I'm just going to stop sharing just so I can see Galinda. Hello.
Hi.
All right, are you ready?
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, so tell us you're in a safe space. This is all confidential. So, Galinda, what's the problem that you have that you'd like to focus on?
There's this rushing that has to happen. I give myself plenty of time and I still end up rushing. And making myself feel sick. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
With a small child in tow. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good. Have you got a picture of your small child? No, not a
Not at the
digital.
moment. No.
No. I'm talking in your mind. In your mind.
In my mind. She's all over the walls here. Yeah, I do.
Okay. Yeah, awesome. All right, so we'll start with some natural rest, which is basic mindfulness, just to get you into the space, and then we'll start. So just take some slow, deep breaths. Now, for everyone who's watching, you can follow along as well. So take your issue, your problem, and have a go at following along. Okay. So just start to listen to the sounds you can hear, Galinda. Welcoming them into your experience. And now start to notice that there is silence in between sounds. Now put your attention on the feeling of the air. Notice the air temperature on your face. Notice how your t-shirt feels on your skin. Now it's draped over the body. Now, when you think about this idea of rushing, what if you stopped rushing? Start to be open to what comes. What's the worst thing that would happen if you stopped rushing? Let me know verbally if something comes.
Be late. Doesn't matter. Just to be late.
Yeah. So that can happen. Sometimes if we go to the worst case scenario is really not that bad. Yeah. All right. So let's just start with those words, be late. So imagine that you've got a movie screen in front of your eyes, Galinda, and then shoot those words, be late, on the screen in front of you. And just start to see if you can see them in capitals or lowercase. What are they in?
Lowercase. Yeah.
Lowercase. Do they have a colour?
They're black.
Yeah. And how far away are they?
Or maybe a couple of meters away.
Yep. Okay, good. And if you were late, what would that mean about you?
Unreliable.
Good. So that's the deficiency story, everyone. So that's what's driving it. Okay, so now shoot that word up there, unreliable. Can you see that word there? See if that looks the same or whether it's in a different font.
It's small.
Yeah, okay, good. So when was the first time or a significant time where you were unreliable? Start to be open to any memories popping up. You might have something come, you may not.
Not being able to have a natural childbirth with my daughter.
Yeah, good. And have you got a picture of that memory?
Yeah.
Okay. So now draw a frame around that picture, Galinda. So like a square or rectangle frame. Can you see that?
Yeah.
And now put your attention on the space between you and the picture. So you can see that that's a picture that you're looking that's outside of you. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Now start to look at the picture of that memory. So start to see who's there, where your daughter is, where you are, whether you're in the picture. where you are, looking at the different colours, the formations, noticing what's in the background of the picture, what's in the foreground of the picture, seeing if it's daytime or nighttime. Now, put your attention above the frame, so above the image, where there's no picture. Can you see there? Where there's just space?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And now bring your attention back to the picture and breathe in as you look at the picture. And then breathe out as you put your attention on the space to the left of the frame, where there's space. See where there's space there? Yep. Now, just keep glancing back at the picture. Every time you look back at the picture, just see how it looks now, not trying to get rid of anything, just allowing it to be just as it is. And when you're ready, just look to see underneath the picture, underneath the frame, you'll see where there's space. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, and look back at the picture to see how that looks now. And when you're ready, look to the right of the picture and you'll see that there's space there as well. Can you see that? Good.
Yeah.
So how does the picture look now, out of interest?
It's gone.
Okay, good. So we've taken the top layer away, right, of the Velcro. So take a deep breath in and breathe out when you're ready. And as you breathe out, slide into the body. Just glide down and come and find a gentle, safe place in the body. So you can just start to watch and notice and feel how it feels in the body, and start to, when you're ready, let me know what you can feel in the body.
Just strong tingling in my fingers.
Yeah, good. And does it feel safe to have that strong tingling there?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. So just start to come into the hand. So you can, it's just in your fingers, yeah?
Yeah.
So you can gauge how close you want to be to your fingers. So you can be, it's almost like a mini you has jumped down into your hands or your wrists or your arms. You can just really gauge how close you want to be to those tingles. Just start to open up the hands now, because there will be space around the tingles, and that space might be outside of the hands or the fingers, sorry, or the space might be in your hands, like the palms of your hands where there's no tingles. Just start to locate where the tingles end. Be open and curious.
So the tingles keep going out, but there's none in the palms.
Good. Okay. So they're going out of the fingers, are they?
Other fingers, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what I call body intelligence. The body knows how to process its own emotions and we get out of its way. So just watch the process. Notice how it feels to have tingles going out of the fingers. Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
You just watch. Nothing needs to be done here. Just allow. Sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and watch the body's natural intelligence to process its own emotions. And how does that feel now?
Yeah, it's still going. Yeah, it's
good.
all good. It's okay. Yeah.
So if we had more time, we get you to just continue to watch, because we don't need to rush this. This is like epic magic happening here, where emotions are processing, but we're kind of on a bit of a time thing here. So I'm going to jump to the next step, and I want you to listen or watch to see if your body agrees or disagrees to this statement when you repeat it after me. I am reliable.
I am reliable.
See, does your body agree or disagree? Or do you have rebuttals, any stories that tell you that you're not?
No, I agree.
Okay, so it agrees. So the body agrees. Okay, good. Okay, you can take a deep breath. Notice how that feels. Notice how you feel. Notice how that technique was for you. And then opening your eyes when you're ready. How was that? How do you feel?
Good. All the energy's going the opposite way now, like in towards the palms. So it's not on the outside. So yeah, that was lovely. That was good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. So a few things there. Sometimes we could have gone deeper. You know, sometimes we go really deep with a KI facilitator. Perhaps your body didn't agree and thought of all of the times that you were unreliable, which are memories attached, stored in the body. It's like these memories are stored in the body. So we have to look at them one at a time, clear the words and pictures, then come to the body. And every time we keep asking the body whether you're unreliable or reliable in this case, then the body becomes clearer and clearer and clearer. It's like we're just clearing more emotion that's attached to that story. Yeah.
As soon as I said I am reliable, there was that voice in my head though. I just allowed that to be there, and I just went, because it did feel right what I said, but I did notice a little.
Yeah, what were the words?
Are you?
Are you? Perfect. Okay, so we haven't quite finished because they're words, right? That's a rebuttal. So let's look at those words. Yeah, so come back, close your eyes, come back into a natural place of rest where you're watching. When you're ready, shoot those words up on the screen. Are you? Notice how they look.
They're big capitals.
Good. Okay, allow them to be there. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here.
I love you.
I love you.
You're welcome to stay as long as you like.
You're welcome to stay as long as you like.
Now start to notice that there is space above those words, below the words, to the left of the words. It's like you look at the space as if that's all that exists. There's just space. And then you look at the letters. Look at each individual letter. Look at the space as if that's all that exists. Look at the letters. Look at the space to the left. Look at the space to the right. There's lots of different techniques that we use. We don't have time for me to show you all of them. But this does work. It's amazing, right? How do those words look? Do they have intensity?
They're not as sharp, I guess. They're probably not quite as big either. Yeah.
Which is funny because we always try to block out the bad stories or the bad memories, but when we actually use these, we actually look at them, put them up on a screen so we can see them, and then we use these gentle, safe, nurturing techniques. It's like, sure, you can be here. I love you. You're so welcome to be here. I see you. Thank you for showing up. Do you want a cup of tea? What would you like? And that's what happens. It softens. They lose its power. The more you resist it, the more power it has. The more you just allow it and say, yes, thank you so much. You're welcome. Now, how do they look?
They're very, it's very cute, small little cursive writing, kind of wavy writing.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, they can get so creative and expressive, right? Beautiful. So just watch the show again. Don't have to do anything here. There are words and pictures that get stuck, and we have other techniques. But in this case, just allow it. Allow these words to express themselves. They want to be seen, heard, loved, accepted. These are words that have been screaming at us. And we're like, no, I don't want to. I'm not listening to that. I'm not putting my attention there. But when we actually allow it, hold space for these words that we normally run from, they just end up being a bunch of letters. Can you see those words now?
No.
Okay, so take a deep breath and come into the body. And start to notice how that feels.
It's funny, even that sort of sensation in my tummy when I said it's sort of gone as well. So that's, yeah, interesting.
Okay, so you did have a sensation come up when you said I'm unreliable.
When I said, are you?
Ah, yes. Okay, good. Yep.
Yeah.
So what we've done is we've dissolved the words, and sometimes when we dissolve the words, then the sensation goes with the words. Otherwise, the words go, and then we work with the sensation. So you had a sensation in your tummy, and it had cleared, right?
Yeah, not originally, but after I said that, just sort of now, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yep. So how does it feel in the body now?
Calm.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it? And if we had more time, I would ask again. I'd say, okay, so repeat after me. I am reliable. And you check again. Just keep the process going. Continue to take layer by layer by layer all of these stories that we're not. We're none of them. Yeah. Okay, so take a deep breath. Come back when you're ready. Open your eyes. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. I'm going to try and be super speedy. Okay, so yeah, the one-on-one sessions is where it's at. Like, this is where you get to go deeper. This is where we get to your personal, specific memories that perhaps you haven't wanted to go to. And we do this in this safe, nurturing space, and we're like hand the tool right at the right moment. So it's like we are there with you. You're not doing this on your own. We're like kind of supporting like a rock. I always think of like the supports for rock climbing. Like as the KI facilitators, we're like the support crew, like just holding the boundaries so you feel safe. And we give you the tools. It's like, you know, we ask you a question right at the right moment, and we guide you to use a particular technique right at the right moment. So you're clearing words, pictures, memories, stories, and then the sensations, which is the thing that's actually keeping everything stuck. That's the thing that's been missing in the mental health model. But it's great. We are in the new world. The research is here. In 15 years' time, when you go and see a psychologist, they will all have somatic awareness therapies like the Killer Bee inquiries. And I'll get to as many psychologists and counsellors as possible in that time as well and teach them KI. So this is Sumitra. She's my own lovely KI facilitator. So when I need a session, I go and see her. And I love this picture because it really encapsulates the beauty of who she is. She feels like my mum. So this is from another client of hers. I have sat with countless therapists and practitioners over the years in an attempt to heal early trauma. So it was a surprise when I had my first session with Sumitra to discover that I had not experienced someone holding a space of 100% acceptance for me before. With her guidance, I was able to see that the pain and sadness I felt were okay. There's nothing wrong with you if you have pain and sadness. She sat with me while I wept, and it was one of the most cleansing experiences of my life. She does that for me too. And now she's on my team because I'm booked out and I'm going into schools and teaching this to teachers in schools. Then I had to bring some people on, and Sumitra was my first choice. So what we resist persists. So these are the things that you can say. Come into the body and say, thank you for arriving. I'm so glad you're here. You have my full permission to be here. So write these down and say them to yourself. Be in your body. When I was depressed, I heard people say that. I was like, I don't even know what you mean. Be in your body. What that means is you come and start to feel the sensations in your body and come into the mastermind and come and learn these tools and techniques so you feel safe and you know how to master these techniques and process your own emotions. It's the emotions that are keeping things stuck. So these are things that you can say to your feelings. Have my whole body. So rather than saying, oh, I just wish this feeling would go away, you know how you have those feelings like you're like, I just don't feel myself, I just don't feel good today. Go into the body on those days and say, have my whole body. I imagine my whole body is like a body of water. I'm like, yep, you know, my arms, you can come into my head, come into my whole body. Make yourself at home. Do you want a cup of tea? Do you need towels? What can I get you? You can have my bed if you want. Like, it's that attitude. That's gratitude, right? There's so much research on how gratitude works. The body, we just saw this beautifully with Galinda. The body has its own innate intelligence to process its own emotions. So, you know, we're always like, oh, we've got to do something to make ourselves feel better. No, we just have to use these techniques to get ourselves out of the way. And then we just get to watch this incredible intelligence of the body, which I call body intelligence. Dear feelings, also known as sensations. What do you want? What do you need? What do you want me to know? Okay, so this is where we're talking about sensations or feelings that stay, or they feel stuck. Now, in my experience, I've learned through KI, but also intuitively, this came to me before I learned KI, that they either, feelings and sensations, either have a message or a purpose. As an intuitive, I used to like clear the body, clear energy from people. I don't do that anymore because there is golden gifts, wisdom, medicine within the sensations, within the energy. There's either a message for you or there's a purpose, there's a reason why it's here. So check in and start a conversation with your sensations, with your feelings. Ask why are you here? What do you want me to do? This is the beauty. See how there's a common thread here? There's so much power in feeling feelings. Thank you for being the one to really show me that. After years of talk therapy telling me how to rationalize my way out of feelings, which only suppresses them, I started letting myself actually sit with them, and I actually got better. Who would have thought? It's amazing how much calmer I feel since starting this session. Just within the session, you feel clearer. And Carrie Ann on feeling sadness. It doesn't feel as bad as I thought. The mind can make this into such a big deal. And when we just feel it, it's actually okay. So I'm going to leave you with one last tool, the utility inquiry it's called. What does this give me? How am I benefiting from this? We use this. I put this picture here for those of you who are spiritual leaders, which I'm assuming all of you are because you're in Daniela's community, and you have a message to share, you have work to share with the world, but perhaps you're like hiding. Let's just imagine you're hiding. You want to do a podcast, but you don't. You want to be seen but not seen. You want to be heard but not heard. So the utility is we use that to find out why we keep doing the same things. Why do we keep making ourselves small? And ask these questions. What does this give me? How am I benefiting from being small? Or how am I benefiting from not making sales? Or how am I benefiting from not getting likes? Or how am I benefiting from not having job opportunities come? How am I benefiting from things not going the way I wanted them to? And there will be a reason. It'll be helping you in some way. It'll be helping you to keep safe. Or that's a really strong one here. Helping you to keep safe, which are just words, right? Words coupled with sensation, which is the Velcro effect. So you just look at the words to keep safe. And then look at the body sensations. But those behaviours those habits we really want to get rid of, actually they're serving us. They're helping us to feel safe. We don't have to ridicule ourselves anymore. Okay, so the podcast, It's Okay to Cry, is live. We've got 2 episodes, and I think the third episode has just been uploaded tonight, which is very exciting. This whole, the full package of my work and what I learned from coming out of 22 years of depression, using the Killer Bee Inquiries and a somatic-based approach, is in my book, It's Okay to Cry, which will be published for Mental Health Awareness Week in October. So I would love you all to read it when it comes out. So this is my gift to you. The Beyond Belief Mastermind includes all of the full set of powerful inner work tools, which are the KI techniques. So you learn it through videos, audios, and text, all on a membership page, and people have absolutely loved learning the tools. It's just brought so much clarity, peace, freedom in people with mental illness and without. In the mastermind, we also have sacred circles fortnightly online, and there's a space there for you to receive individual mentoring to do with the techniques, and it's also business-based and just life-based, parenting-based, whatever you're working with and on, bring it to the circle. And I'm also a light language channel, so I offer energetic upgrades and channeled messages in that fortnightly sacred circle as well. There are also weekly Q&As in the Facebook group. So that's $111 a month. It normally takes 3 to 4 months for people to get through, but if you're really quick, then you can do it in a month. If you want to stay and just love it so much, then you can stay longer. You just get to choose how long you want to be in the mastermind for. But it's such a beautiful space to be in, and these techniques are the most powerful set of inner work techniques I've ever come across. If you'd like to get the most out of KI, then I highly recommend you book in to have sessions with a KI facilitator. So I'm booked out, and Sumitra is available to work with you one-on-one. Within the Beyond Belief Mastermind, you get 2 sessions per month with Sumitra, and it's normally $333 per month. But tonight, for you all, I've taken $30 off per month. So that's when you book tonight. So I'm just going to put the link in the chat box in a minute. And yeah, so this is amazing value. You get all of the techniques, you get ongoing training, support, mentoring. You also get the sacred space. You get to work with me up close, and you also you just clear so much more when you work with a KI facilitator. You get right to the depths of painful memories, negative stories that you have about yourself. Yeah, so I'm going to pop that link in there. I'm just going to check these chats. Oh, we've got similar stories. Yes, I'm the person hiding. I know, Joe. I would like to know more. I'm just doing loads of courses at the moment. Do you run regular courses? Yeah, so this one's ongoing. So you can join at any time, but if you want to get the $30 off per month, which is just it's a significant reduction, then you'll need to book tonight, which I'll put the link in now. So should we just open up to questions, Daniela, or?
Yeah, if everyone has any question, please ask now. I know in chat box there are quite a few questions there. I think I can see another question coming. Okay.
How far in the future can I book? What do you mean? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Joe? Where are you, Joe?
You can unmute yourself, Joe, if you want to talk. If not, Probably she's thinking like, how far you go with that.
Hey guys.
Hi, Joe.
Hey, sorry, I'm in the dark. Yeah, so basically I was just, because I'm so busy with all the other courses at the moment, I'm just wondering if I did book in tonight, how far in the future, if you know what I mean, like how far down the track would you book till?
So
Because I'm committed on a course for the next 6 months, and I sort of don't really want to swap modalities at this stage for what I'm actually doing. So it would be something I'm very highly, interested in. But just thinking, I mean, $30 a month is a big savings, but at the end of the day, it's not all about the money; it's about what you get out of it as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm thinking on the fly, but perhaps if you sign up tonight and then we can pause it for 6 months and then you can start. Would that work?
Yeah, something along those lines would work. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's all I meant.
Yeah, no
so thank you very much for tonight. It's been very great, very insightful. And sorry, I'm a bit unwell at the moment, so that's why I'm a little bit in the dark and I'm in bed.
No, I know what it's like to be on a call. It's easy. No, I'm just glad you're here. It's great.
Thank you.
Maybe another thing you can mention, Bronte, that when you give this $30 off, it's for each month, isn't it?
Yeah, it's per month, exactly. Yeah, so it's not just this month.
It's just not one off. It's just continue for whatever time you want to sit in this mastermind, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and you're getting two sessions a month as well. So normally sessions are $150 a session.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're getting the technique. So the value of being in the mastermind and to do the one-on-ones is you're clearing it all and you're learning the techniques. So the value of learning the techniques is where it's at, because it's like I don't have to do so much work anymore because I'm doing it in my everyday life. So if I'm triggered, I know I can apply these techniques in my everyday. I can even do it with my eyes open. So we talk a lot about that, how to actually integrate these techniques in your everyday life. So it's just it becomes second nature. It's not like a thing separate to life. It becomes a lifestyle. It's a part of the way that you live, which I believe it's like, why are we not taught this? Like, I used to be a teacher. It's like if I had these tools and techniques, I would have been teaching my kids this. This is really fundamental human stuff. We all get triggered. We all have a roller coaster of emotions. What are we doing? So sometimes it's like it just does not make any sense to me. Now that I know them, it's like, okay, this is all I needed. I didn't need talk therapy for 20 years. I just needed to know how to feel my feelings, how to get out of my way so my emotions could process.
Beautiful. So any other questions, guys? I mean, obviously you can ask Bronte later on, because you can connect with her via her email, website, or Facebook Messenger. She's got many ways you can connect with her. But wow, tonight was just amazing. Thank you so much, Bronte. It was a beautiful session. I learned so much too. It's something that we constantly learn. Whatever we get involved with, something there, a message for us that we need to hear to support our healing, isn't it? So
absolutely, yeah.
Beautiful. So thank you so much for your great offer, like with the mastermind and the discount, and particularly with the other team member that you offer. It's amazing. It's great value, guys. If you really want to support your healing, jump on this, because I know Bronte has some magic in her field. She can do so much great work with everyone she's touching hearts, which is so beautiful. So
thank you so much, Danielle.
Yeah,
such a beautiful evening.
Yeah. I truly enjoyed it. I hope everyone enjoyed it. It was so beautiful. I'd like to just finish quickly with a very, very small prayer and just to break out nicely for the night. So I'm going to say a little prayer. You can follow me, whatever you do, just it's very short. So I'd like to say thank you, divine source, God, universe, infinite divine consciousness, for bringing us together in this beautiful space give us this opportunity to learn more ways to heal ourselves and to bring more peace and balance in our life. May we all have the courage to step into this process of feeling our feelings, feeling the sensations we have in our body, bring them to the surface and let them go, clear them, let them dissipate back where they came from. To free ourselves, to free our life, to heal ourselves, and be more joyful, more peaceful, more exciting in this life. Thank you for everything you offer to us. We are here to learn. We are here to share experiences, to bring peace in our hearts and share it with others so we can create more peace and harmony and compassion in the world. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amen.